Vehicles in Delta Force are plentiful and they can quickly become a big nuisance in a lot of the maps if your teammates aren't doing much to dispatch them. In today's video I want to dive into an anti-vehicle guide focused on taking down those pesky vehicles playing as infantry. Let's start off with the basics, the vehicles themselves. Most vehicles vary in overall strength in the sense that they can take a different amount of damage before meeting their inevitable demise. Starting off with land vehicles, tanks are generally the strongest and most resilient. IFVs, AAs, and the tank destroyer are next in line. The assault vehicle is pretty much in a category of its own to finally end with the two transport vehicles, the quad and the call-in Humvee. As for aquatic vehicles, there are only two, the assault boat and the PWC, with the boat obviously being the strongest. Lastly, for air vehicles, you have the assault helicopter and the recon helicopter, commonly referred to as the Little Bird. The assault helicopter is the strongest of the two, but for the most part, they're going to take similar amounts of damage to get destroyed. Most land vehicles actually have weak spots. These weak spots, when targeted, can disable certain key functions of the vehicle. The main battle tank and light tank both have weak spots in the following areas: the tracks, the turret, and the rear of the tank where the engine can be found. The IFV, AA, and tank destroyer all share two weak spots, the turret and the engine. The assault vehicle is the odd one out as there are no weak spots. The quad is moot as it dies in one shot from any launcher. For the aquatic and air vehicles from 9 knowledge, they don't have any weak spots. Generally speaking, you will always want to, when possible, aim for the vehicle's weak spots. Depending on which part you are targeting, you will do either of three things: disable its turret, resulting in incredibly slow rotation, disable the track, resulting in very slow turning of the vehicle, or disabling the engine, resulting in the vehicle moving at a snail's pace, making them an easy pick for you or a teammate. Moving on to equipment and gadgets that can actually deal with vehicles, starting off with the ones that can deal damage. You have D-Wolf's Triple Blaster, Viren's Magnetic Bombs, and the High Explosive Launcher for the Assault class. For engineers, you have Uluru's Loitering Munition, the AT-4 Launcher, Javelin, Wire-Guided Missile Launcher, Stinger, and Anti-Tank Mines. Lastly, some gadgets can actually provide utility to your teammates that are running launchers with much needed lock-ons. Luna's Volt Arrow, when fired at a vehicle, acts as a lock-on. The Recon class has access to the Laser Designator, which can definitely be a nuisance, especially to helicopters. And finally, Hackclaw's Data Knife, while not providing direct lock-on capabilities or doing any damage, can prevent vehicles from using their countermeasures, such as the dreaded Active Defense System or IR Smoke. Granted, you are much more likely to succeed with her data knife if you have a coordinated squad that works together. Also, don't forget that there are stationary artillery and anti-air weapons on most maps. Some only have the anti-air ones. They can definitely help you out if you are playing as a class that might not have anything to deal with vehicles. The stationary artillery isn't great, but it will make a vehicle move. As for the anti-air, you can easily take out an inexperienced or even somewhat competent pilot with these. Great, now that we have all that covered, let's talk about the actual gadgets. While D-Wolf's Triple Blaster can destroy a vehicle that is on death's door, I wouldn't actively recommend relying on it as an anti-vehicle gadget. It can definitely make a vehicle back up when you stick them with it, at least maybe. As for Viren's Magnetic Bombs, these things are one of the best abilities to dispatch vehicles, at least if you can get close to them. They deal a ton of damage to vehicles and can nearly kill any of them, at least the armored ones, when you stick them with both, the assault vehicle only taking 2 bombs to be destroyed. The High Explosive Launcher by itself is not great, but if you combine it with Viren's Magnetic Bombs, you can be an absolute menace to vehicles. Stick 2 bombs on it, then fire an HE ordnance at the vehicle and it will basically be dead, if not actually dead. A fantastic combo. Moving on to engineers, I will start off with gadgets that I think are not great at dealing with vehicles. The newest gadget, the wire-guided missile, in theory sounds great, but there are a few caveats with it. It can only be fired while aiming down sight, making you an absolute sitting duck for literally anything. When fired, the ordnance goes up in a weird arc, so if you are close to your target, you kind of have to aim down a little bit for the actual projectile to come out and hit the vehicle, otherwise it'll just fly straight over it. Lastly, it is incredibly difficult to track and determine the distance of the projectile. I think this might be due to the fact that the projectile itself is potentially a PNG or JPEG that doesn't scale with distance. I would not recommend using this at range, especially on a moving target. The WGM will destroy the heavily armored vehicles in 4 shots unless you hit them in the engine, in which case it takes 3. Somewhat unfortunate as you only get 3 of these, so if you need 4 shots then you kind of have to resupply before actually being able to kill them. The Javelin is a launcher that can lock onto vehicles. While very good at its job, it can easily be countered by both the active protection system and smokes that break the lock, and also any type of object that comes between you and the vehicle while you're trying to lock on. What's nice about it though is that the ordnance comes in from the air and descends on the vehicle. If you get 2 hits on one, that will disable their turret every time. Now, the downside is you only get 2 javelins and most vehicles take 3 to be destroyed. You either fire it with a resupply station close by or with a support that can feed you ammo. The launcher can also be used to destroy air vehicles provided that you have a fellow recon player that is using the laser designator to actually designate the air vehicles you're trying to attack. Stingers are specifically designed to take down air vehicles, but they unfortunately aren't very good at it. You only get 2 charges and helicopters have multiple ways of making you waste them. The first shot you take at a helicopter will almost always be flared out, and competent helicopter pilots will fly out of lock-on range and wait for their flares to recharge before swooping back down and getting some more kills. The best pilots will simply do barrel rolls to dodge the Stinger, which can be very frustrating to say the least. Overall, this gadget in my opinion is pretty worthless, and I wouldn't really rely on it to deal with air vehicles consistently. Anti-tank mines allow you to set them and forget them. They actually got buffed in a recent update. You now get 3 of them and each mine deals 40 damage, allowing you to destroy any vehicle that rolls on the whole set. These I think are much better on AD than King of the Hill, as you kind of have to put them in an area that you know vehicles will inevitably drive through. Now the downsides, they are very easy to spot. Anyone, including your teammates, can destroy them, and trust me, I've seen far too many of my teammates destroy friendly mines because they were maybe scared they belonged to enemies. And finally, the biggest downside of the anti-tank mine, they cannot be resupplied by resupply stations. You need to get them from a support's ammo crate. While you might be able to get a kill or 2 on potentially newer players, the AT mines are pretty meh at doing the job of destroying vehicles. They're just too easy to spot. Teammates can destroy them, and just anyone can just walk by, see the anti-tank mine, and destroy it to prevent their vehicles from driving over them. And any competent vehicle that has a gunner that knows somewhat what they're doing will see those mines ahead of time and destroy them before their driver actually drives over them. The AT4, or Old Reliable as I like to call it, this thing is just all around great. You get 4 of them, which is enough to destroy any vehicle. You can freehand fire them, they can lock onto targets that are being lased or that were hit by a Volt Arrow. They can resupply from stations and ammo crates. While the reload is somewhat lengthy, these are definitely my go-to launcher when playing Engineer. Combine it with Uluru's loitering munition and you have yourself one hell of a vehicle destruction unit. This is definitely the one I would recommend to absolutely everyone, simply because it is super versatile. Now let's talk about strategy. Your biggest enemy as an anti-tank vehicle troop is the active defense system. It has a fast recharge, it can eat anything and everything you throw at it, just a big nuisance overall. You ideally never want to waste a rocket or magnetic bomb on a vehicle that just popped this. The only real counter to the active defense is Hacklaw's data knife, which I mentioned earlier, but this really only works when you have a squad that is willing to coordinate together. Whenever possible, try to flank vehicles to get to the back. Making them immobile is probably the best way to destroy them efficiently, be it by your hand or other teammates firing rockets at them. Even if they pop their protection system, the engine won't have time to self-repair before that defense system runs out, and then it's easy pickings. Smoke can also be slightly annoying, but if you are using the AT4, it doesn't really matter because you're not locking onto them. Creative use of cover, high ground, and parkour are all tools that you should learn how to use effectively. These will allow you to get angles on vehicles that they might not expect. Anytime you fire a launcher, look on your minimap and try to get it resupplied as soon as possible. Never wait until you run out if you can, as resupplying all 4 AT4s will take you 80 seconds from a station, unless you have a support player nearby, in which case you can cut that time down in half. Sometimes you will also be faced with vehicles that are simply camping out of bounds, preventing you from doing anything to destroy them, because as soon as you throw a rocket their way, they're just going to back away and start repairing their vehicle. When situations like this arise, I love using a cruise missile, provided I've gotten enough points, which generally speaking you will if you're focused on destroying vehicles. I'll use it just to destroy them to assert dominance and get a nice fat chunk of XP as well. As for air vehicles, unfortunately the current state of Stingers is so poor that I wouldn't really say they're a reliable way of taking out vehicles. I have more luck by simply firing AT4s at them or using the stationary anti-airs that are around the map. In an ideal world, it would be the mobile AA's job to deal with them, but that doesn't always pan out, so just try your best and make do with what you've got. Uluru's loitering munition can be used to take them out somewhat reliably, but they can be hard to hit when the chopper pilot is moving erratically, and it does take 2 of them. Also, in some rare occasions, helicopters survive from an AT-4 hit, which in my opinion should never happen, but I just wanted to make note of this. As for aquatic vehicles, now there's only really one map, maybe two, I guess, if you count Ascension when you're playing it on AD that have the assault boat and personal watercraft carriers. To destroy these, honestly, anything can do. The Javelin is great at it. The AT-4 very, very reliable as well, unless they're pretty far and they're moving at a quick pace. But most of the time, helicopters will take care of these and dispatch them effectively, or other boats as well. Now, before I sign off today, I hope this video helped you out, and don't forget, if there's an oddly placed quad somewhere, enemies are more than likely using it as a respawn point, so make sure to take those out whenever possible. So there you have it, my anti-vehicle guide for infantry players. Let me know your favorite ways of dispatching vehicles in Delta Force in the comment section down below. If you found the video helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, thank you very much for watching, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.